The simplest FastMCP configuration might be all you need to get your server running. We'll see how just 3 lines of JSON can pinpoint your server's location and entry point, while still leveraging FastMCP's full power for defaults and extensibility. This minimal setup is perfect for quick prototyping or when you want to keep things clean and focused.
Schema https://gofastung.com/public/schemas/fastmcp JSON/v1 JSON. Source path server pi entry point MCP.
This demonstrates the declarative configuration pattern for server management. Instead of imperative command line arguments or scattered environment variables, all server settings are defined in a single structured file that serves as the project's source of truth. The distinctive aspect is how it separates the what configuration from the how execution, enabling consistent behavior across environments without modifying code. The pattern works by organizing configuration into 3 conceptual layers: source location, environment requirements, and deployment settings. This separation of concerns allows each aspect to evolve independently. You can change deployment parameters without touching environment setup, or update dependencies without altering server code. The configuration file becomes a portable contract that any FastMCP-compatible runtime can interpret, from local development to cloud deployment. This approach solves the problem of environment drift and configuration sprawl in distributed systems. By codifying all server parameters in version-controlled JSON, teams eliminate the works on my machine problem while gaining auditability and reproducibility. The trade-off is initial setup complexity, but the payoff comes in deployment reliability and the ability to manage multiple environments, dev, staging, prod, through configuration files rather than manual intervention. Let's break it down line by line. This opens a JSON configuration object. The outer braces define the complete configuration structure for FastMCP, containing metadata, source definitions, and tool specifications.
Schema https://gofastung.com/public/schemas/fastmcp JSON/v1 JSON.
This declares the JSON schema validator for this configuration file. It enables IDE auto-completion, validation, and error detection by referencing FastMCP's official schema, preventing invalid configurations before runtime.
Source
The source key defines the entry point for the FastMCP server. It specifies which Python file contains the server logic and which function initializes the MCP instance, ensuring the server knows exactly where to start execution. This follows the standard configuration pattern for declaring executable entry points in FastMCP projects.
path server pi
Specifies the Python module containing the FastMCP entry point. This path must resolve to a file with a decorated function that handles incoming AI requests, typically where your @MCP tool functions are defined.
entry point MCP.
This specifies the entry point function for FastMCP to execute when the server starts. Without this, FastMCP wouldn't know which function initializes your toolset, so it's required in every server configuration. Follows the standard pattern where MCP is the conventional name for the root initialization function. This closing brace terminates the JSON configuration object. It ensures valid JSON syntax, marking the end of the FastMCP server configuration block. This closing brace terminates the JSON configuration object. It ensures valid JSON syntax, marking the end of the FastMCP server configuration, including the source path and entry point definition. FastMCP configuration essence. The FastMCP JSON schema transforms command line complexity into declarative simplicity, where environment, deployment, and source become first-class configuration citizens. A missing schema reference silently disables IDE validation and autocomplete, making debugging needlessly painful. Environment variables in deployment config support VAR interpolation, but only when explicitly enabled in the runtime settings.
The configuration file that disappears into the runtime becomes the runtime itself.